Morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to TUD's regular board meeting for Tuesday, December 9th. And if you'd all like to rise and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. With that, we will open the public forum. And I see we have a large crowd again. So please don't everybody fight your way to the podium. Board welcomes public attendance and comments on district matters. This section is reserved for items not on the agenda. The board may not discuss or take action on these items, but values and considers all input. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Anybody, any takers? My God, we have one. Thank you.
Good morning, Leonidas Russell, member of the League of Women Voters of the Mother Lode. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of the Mother Lode, I would like to extend sincere congratulations to TUD staff for earning both the Distinct Transparency Certificate of Excellence and the District of Distinction Recognition. These awards reflect a meaningful achievement and speak to TUD's staff's sustained commitment to open governance and exemplary public service. Your dedication to transparency, consistent compliance with the Brown Act, and adherence to clearly established rules and procedures, particularly in your interactions with the public, demonstrate a high level of integrity and professionalism. These honors validate the intentional work you have undertaken to ensure that TUD operates with accountability, clarity, and public trust at the forefront. Thank you for setting such a strong example of responsible local governance. Congratulations again on receiving these well-deserved distinctions.
Thank you very much for that. Okay, is there anyone else? Seeing none, we'll close the public forum and Melissa, you're up.
Okay, staff reports.
I do, thanks for. Let's brief.
Not on to. So on the 2nd of December, I met with President Ringen to discuss this agenda item and several other TUD topics. And again, on the 4th of December, again, I met with President Ringen to discuss other agenda items, future agenda items, and water supply. And that's the end of my, oh, no, it's not. Tomorrow, I have a phone call with Lee Mao with the United States Bureau of Reclamations for an update on our long-term water supply contract for Central Valley Project Water.
Yes.
That's tomorrow.
Yes, good job.
We'll see. Don't hold your breath.
Just briefly, I'll let the board know that we have a number of water storage tanks in construction right now. The contracts have gone before the board in the past, but you lose track of time as these projects take several months to complete. Zone 2 tank, they just had the ring wall, the concrete foundation poured last week. Valley Vista, the concrete ring wall was poured a couple weeks ago, and the contractor's moving in with materials to start the floor. Upper Cedar Ridge tank is near completion, a project that Nate here in the audience has been managing, and roof's up and the stairway's up, and we're waiting on a few other very minor pieces for that. Pedro Y tank, project Jennifer is managing, is getting closer and closer. They've gone out to do some excavation work and some geotech work. She's awaiting for the tank contractor to submit some plans so that she can those and approve those. But we're moving forward with that. And then you also have on your agenda the Peaceful Pines tank. That's all I have to.
Just briefly wanted to let you know that next month you'll be getting the normal quarterly investment report, but also we will have a presentation from our investment advising company, Chandler Asset Management, as well as a review of our investment policy. Just wanted to let you know that that's coming.
I said I wasn't going to have a report. I did attend the California Public Employers Labor Relations Association conference. It just left shortly after the last board meeting, and so was there in Monterey for a couple of days, learning about labor relations, human resources, risk management, and the like. It was a great conference. Thank you.
Okay, I guess it brings it back to the board. Who would like to go first?
I'll go ahead and go. All right, last week went to the Aqua Fall Conference. The highlight for me was the Aqua Fall Conference for the JPIA. Quite a few things here to report on. First thing, it's a new protection that they are adding on our policy. It's parametric protection. Have you heard about this, Abby? It's included in our property program. They're making it universal. All of their members that are participate in that program. And what it's for emergencies. Currently it's going to be on the first rollout here. It's going to be just for earthquakes. So it may not affect us too much, but they eventually want to roll this into wildfire and drought and water supply interruptions. But it's a little different take on insurance. It has a matrix where you're located in the state, what your risks are, and that determines how much of their pool of cash is available for a particular area. But what it does is, let's say with earthquake, say we have an earthquake here and we have damage, some tanks, maybe a treatment plant or something like that. TUD and the other members are going to get a cash payout of some amount within 5 days to 2 weeks. So it's a quick response answer for a verified emergency, and it's not policy limit or anything like that. It's much lower, but it could help if you have to go out and rent a fleet of generators, or if you have to hire additional personnel, or if you have to buy pipe to bypass a broken section of the ditch or something those kinds of upfront costs that need to be addressed quickly. And I think it's going to be a pretty good deal. I think it's going to be a real winner for them, especially when they start including wildfire and drought and whatnot. And it's relatively cheap. Large companies, way larger than us, major metropolitan areas, special districts down there, they may have a line item on their policy bill this year for might be in the tens of thousands. However, they said their smallest members are only going to see a $13 increase for this. Now, I don't know where we come in on that, but I think we're probably closer to the 13 than we are the tens of thousands when it comes to what this additional coverage will cost us. But when that comes out, Abby, take a look at it, and if you got any questions, we can go over it and give them a call on that. So it's kind of interesting. The other thing that we went over at JPIA is the California Water Insurance Fund, otherwise known as CWIF. And this was really quite a success story for the JPIA. This was started back in 2018, and they took $97 million of their claims paying availability cash, and they came up with a goal to invest that money and get at least a 5% return. Since then, they've done much better than that, and they've turned that into a total market portfolio value of $226 million. So they've done very well on this. So why am I telling you about this? What's this mean for TUD? Well, it all goes back to claims paying ability. And so that, you know, these insurance companies, they talk about their tower of coverage. That lowest level for the first tier of coverage is covered by CWIF, and that continues to get higher and higher because they have more cash available to do this before you get into the reinsurance portion where they bring in the other companies and as those claims go higher. So this was really, really impressive. And they've done an excellent job on this. Some of the talking points they throw out that CWIF is fully owned and controlled by the JPIA. CWIF was created by the JPIA to do the following: offer an alternative place to obtain insurance coverage for JPIA members, invest under a model that better fits insurance payout patterns of claims, afford the opportunity to invest funds with risk levels that match the anticipated claims payout patterns, and lend credibility to the JPIA with carriers in excess of insurance market. All the money in CWIF is spoken for, either to pay out in claims or return to the JPIA in the form of catastrophic fund distributions. And CWIF has a separate audit performed annually. So it's they've done an excellent job, and that's very impressive. And it continues to, in my opinion, to make JPIA a stronger and stronger insurance solution for us here at TUD. Moving on to rates, what they expect this year for rates on the liability program, which we're part of. Last year it was a 10% increase. Excuse me, last year was it was 10% on liability. That's dropping to a 5% rate increase. So it's still going up, but we're trending in the right direction. Same thing with the property program. Last year we saw a 15% increase. This year it's going to be 10. So we're trending. The workers' comp program that we're also part of, that's going to stay flat again. So that's good news. And then the employee benefits, the self-funded vision and dental program. Vision's going to go up 3%. Excuse me, dental's going to go up 3%. Vision's going to stay flat. So it's increasing, but not near as much as it was in years past. And then the last thing I have to report is Abby and I were just talking. TUD was recognized by the President's Special Recognition Award for our workers' comp. And you got a nice certificate there that they sent out. So good job to Abby and TUD. And it's funny. That's one of the first things I look at when I get my book is they got a whole list of presidential awards, and it's nice to see TUD on there. So good job, Abby. That's it for JPIA. Went to several meetings at the regular Aqua conference. The one that sticks out in my mind that may impact us at some point here is PFAS. It's just ramping up like crazy. I don't remember the name of the district, but it's the one that covers, I believe, from Santa Clarita all the way into east, all the way over to Valencia. And they've got some horrible, horrible PFAS contamination in their wells there. And it's costing them tens of millions of dollars, and they expect that to get into the hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't know how they're going to pay for it. They don't know how they're going to pay for it. But it's not good, and we just hope they can keep it down south. But we'll see what happens there. Other than that, I'll leave it to my other two board mates to report on what they saw.
Before we move on, I just want to thank you, Director Burns, for doing such a good job on bringing back information on what's going on with JPIA. This is exactly why we are on committees and things like that, to bring back information like that. I appreciate it being what you're doing, and I think it helps staff a lot too to have a heads up in advance. So thank you for doing a good job.
Thank you.
Who's next? Right.
Thank you. So there's a lot to report, but I want to be cautious of our time. time commitment here. So I attended with Director Ringen the Mountain County's Fall Water Forum that was in Auburn. It was quite beneficial and educational, and one of the key topics that was discussed was the Proposition 4 bond fund and how that might trickle down to some of the projects that we are engaged in or will be pursuing. We had a presentation by Josh Cook, the former regional administrator for the EPA. He kind of gave us some insights of what to expect with some of the new regulations that are coming down. PFAS is obviously a hot topic, as Vice President Kearns mentioned. So anyway, I'll leave it at that for the mountain counties. For the Aqua Summit, we had, I also attended parts of the, I went down a day early because there were some committees, particularly the Foreign Affairs Committee, that I wanted to kind of get some background on or more information about participating. But it was interesting, this parametric insurance really got a lot of ideas popping. One particular, I've kind of jokingly referred to the Brotherhood of the Wooden Flume. We are not, a number of the Mountain County districts are in this particular situation. My understanding is the largest outpay of JPIA was for a flume catastrophe. So they are very, very interested in doing that. And I also spoke briefly with Michael Saunders, who is in Region 3, is one of the key folks with Region 3 and also with Aqua as a whole. And he was again quite interested in seeing how we could pursue the parametric insurance concept to the counties that, or the districts that are affected by wooden flumes or catastrophic loss of water supply. So that was quite interesting. Let's see. So some of the committee meetings that I attended was the Federal Affairs Committee. There's a lot of work that's being done that affects, in Washington D.C. that affects us. Of course, the state. There's a lot of state issues as well, but in my opinion and my viewpoint, it's important for us to be planting some seeds that they might take, weeks, months, years to develop, but building relationships with some of the folks in key public agencies, federal agencies, could benefit us over the long term. Again, it may not yield immediate results, but planting seeds that could be a benefit to us down the road. We have an excellent relationship with our congressman, and that's fantastic. But there's a lot of other, when you go down the litany of all the federal agencies that impact what we do and how we do it, and what we can and cannot do, and that will have an impact on the ratepayers. So whatever we can do, in my opinion, to be proactive and develop some of these relationships that will help us. And we've done a great job. I mean, we've been fortunate in acquiring a number of grants that have been, furthered our, furthered us as a district, and but there's a lot more opportunities out there. So one of the things that was a takeaway, takeaway from one of the conferences, which I never heard before, but the comment was, if you don't have a seat at the table, you're on the menu. So we don't want to be on the menu, but we need to be very judicious about ratepayer dollars in terms of what it takes to get a seat at the table at some of these decisions and grant and funding opportunities. There's a lot more, but I think I'll call it quits there. Thanks.
I was also at the Aqua Summit and I went to so many meetings and I met so many people. And it's like a massive tension. So there we have it. I can't even really tell you about any of the meetings I went to because I thought there were a lot of panels and they were discussing a lot of stuff that was relevant, but not really relevant to us. So it was an interesting conference. That's all.
I have nothing to report.
Okay, on 11/18, I attended and participated in the T-Stan RWM committee to select a consultant for water environmental. What we're doing, T-Stan IRWIMP is updating our, for lack of better words, our charter for DWR. Even though we don't know exactly what DWR wants yet, we're pushing ahead to try and be ahead of it so that it doesn't come down on us all at the last moment. Ended up that the committee picked, and quite honestly, I'll be honest that I would urged it strongly that we picked the group from UC Merced because Dr. Bales would have some influence on that committee, and there's been a lot of work in that area that were, the environmental part of it and all that for what we need for our charter. So anyway, that's that. 11/19, attended, participated in T-Stan IRWIMP Joint Water Advisory Committee and JPA meeting. That was sort of a fun deal. We went to Twain Harte for their, if any of you have not been up there, they have a stormwater capture program that they did for the entire town. And they have it on the culmination of it, pretty much, is a park down at the park there in the center of town. And it's a interpretive thing. So if you get a chance, go on up, walk through it. It's really great. It covers all sorts of stuff and has placards with information about how they went about it. And they really have solved a lot of the water problem up there. And it's being used to replenish groundwater as well as clean it up, and that which then ends up in Twain Harte Lake, which then ends up in Sullivan Creek. So it was an important but fun project, which, by the way, was funded through grant monies that the T-Stan IRWIMP was able to put together. 11/19 also attended the Water Solutions Network program, exploring the watershed framework, and that had to do with Feather River. And we're the whole Mountain Counties area, Mountain Counties Water Resources Association, which is not part of this, but I'm drawing how everybody's working kind of in the same direction. Everybody's trying to educate Bay Area, but mostly Southern California, as to where the water comes from. No, it does not bubble up out of the ground at the Delta. It comes from up here. So this was just another group that was working to educate people and they actually got 12 folks from Metropolitan Water to come on up and participate in this program. So everybody's chipping in, everybody's chipping away at it, so it's good. Pretty soon, maybe they'll understand that they need to participate up here in taking care of the watershed. 1121 attended and participated in the Mountain Counties Water Resources Association Fall Water Forum, which Director Jacobs already gave you an update on, so I won't. 12-2 met with GM Perkins about TUD issues and business, and 12-4 met again with GM Perkins staff and a water attorney on a project. That is it for me. So with that, Melissa.
Okay, consent calendar. Item number 1, minutes of the special board meeting of November 18th, 2025. Item number 2, approval of reimbursement claims for director's statement of meetings attended and/or travel expenses, and claim summary for November 2025.
Okay, any board member want to pull anything? Is that a no, up and down? Well, surprise, I want to pull this consent calendar. No, that shocks you. All right. Page 7 of 18, Environmental Science Associates, Galele Reclamation Improvements. What's going on out there?
Well, I hope that's the last invoice you'll see from
Boy, I
Environmental
do
Science
too.
Associates. Unfortunately, there may be one more. They are no longer doing any more work on the project. They are for the district. They are working with the tribe. If board's unaware, this is a project that's jointly pursued with the Tuolumne Band of Buck to bring a reclamation line over to the old Mountain Springs, now Tulele Golf Course. And this board adopted the CEQA document for that a number of months ago, this past spring. But ESA continues to work with the tribe for the permits. And the project is on our capital schedule for construction. But we won't undertake construction until we know that the tribe also has permits they need to do for their portion of the project, which is extending the line onto the golf course. So in short, there's no more work currently being undertaken because they've completed their scope of work for the district.
Where are we at with the grant that was supposed to cover all that?
Yeah, shortly before Thanksgiving, I reached out to the State Water Board on the status of the application. The application's complete. However, for not to bore you, there are some legislative issues with the intended use plan and the authorization that the State Water Board has for funding these types of projects. And there's some cleanup language being proposed. It needs to go through and get adopted before they can release those funds. Like I said, the application's complete. The project is very favorable to get funding, but they didn't think they would get that language cleaned up and have authorization into probably March or April of next year. So that would be the earliest we could find out about our project.
Okay, well, I'm holding my breath because that's been a lot of money coming out of the ratepayers' funds that I really had hoped that it would not be out of ratepayers' funds. So let's keep after it. 14 of 18. Robertson Bryan Incorporated, NPDS. Feasibility, you know, there's something about MPDS permit that really makes me sick. What is this for? I thought we were allergic to MPDS permits.
Gosh, I hope it doesn't mean the water is extremely clean right now that we would be discharging. This is an effort for the district to do some long-range strategic planning. Don, I don't know if you.
Yeah, so I put staff up to this a while ago, maybe a year ago. Some time ago, I put staff up to this. I think it's important, just like the Tulalip project. I think this MPDS is an important endeavor to study and understand. The MPDS permit that we had years ago, I wasn't a part of, but I feel like it's gonna be quite different than the one we would own today if we should pursue it, because of how clean the water is and how beneficial the water is. So I essentially, I put staff up to the task of giving me an idea of what it would cost to acquire a permit and maintain a permit, and what the workload would be like throughout the years to maintain that permit. Just to have other options of disposal of that water should we ever need.
Yeah, I understand the reason for pursuing that, but I just get concerned about the cost of maintaining it, and if it, not knowing what you folks have put in place, what the cost would be, should there be a release into Woods Creek or wherever that's gonna go. Because that's the downside, in my opinion.
Correct. That's why we're running this. That's why I want this study done, so I can have options. Because
Okay, so we're
the
not.
buck stops here when that water has to get released unplanned. The buck stops right here. So I need to know what our options are.
Okay, so I guess I misunderstood then. All we're doing is studying. We're
That's it.
not applying
correct.
for and going for it.
That's correct.
Okay, that's much better. At some point in time, maybe we can pull a pin on that. All right.
Yeah.
Yep. For the benefit of some of the newer board members, could we maybe explain what
Acronym.
we're talking about here?
Want me to?
Anybody back there know what MPDS stands for?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
it's the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System. It's a mouthful, but it's basically a federal permit under Clean Water Act for discharge to surface waters. It can be wastewater, it can be stormwater, industrial discharges. And then the EPA basically passes that down to the states, and the states enforce the MPDS permits kind of regionally. And so this would be for discharge of treated wastewater effluent into a surface water, Woods Creek, Sullivan Creek. Yeah, and the district had one, as Dawn mentioned, in the past.
So my understanding is all the water currently goes to Quartz Reservoir. So is this in the event of an overflow, Quartz Reservoir?
So in years past, we're pushing the boundaries of what we should be talking about. But in the past, decades, even before TUD was a thing, Quartz overtopped or came close to overfilling and would end up discharging into Woods Creek, right? And so what happened to the district as far as penalties goes, I don't know. The district ended up getting an MPDS permit, which apparently was very expensive to maintain and do all the compliance stuff. So 10+ years ago, we got rid of that permit because we've done some improvements in the reclamation system and Quartz, and so we theoretically didn't need it. Since then, 2 times I've had to come close to writing a letter to the state saying we might have to release. So those are the few times where I need the comfort to know that we have a legitimate way to release this water if we need to. If it's too expensive, this staff decides it's too expensive to maintain, if we want to roll the dice every 12 years, then that's the decision we'll make then. But until we know what this costs to own and maintain, we can't make that decision.
Thank you.
Okay, and finally, 15 of 18. And this one, after reading through all the material that Melissa was so nicely sending to us, I think I've already got the answer to this. Ryan Process Incorporated 6,500 gallon polyfoam tank. I think this probably has to do with agenda item number 3, okay? So then the only thing that I'll say is it going to be movable, reusable? And if so, how does it get transported? And hopefully that cost of transporting it won't be too much. But I mean, if we're spending that kind of money, be nice that if we have other tanks that are a problem, that we have a backup or something in the future by using this after we get through with it up there.
So this, the second tank of such that we purchased, the first time we purchased one like this was in 2003. That tank is now residing at the regional wastewater treatment facility, has been used at least twice on emergency tanks situations, or treated water storage tanks, emergency disinfection storage tanks. It's a very useful tank. This one will very much be the same way. It'll be easily transported by our crews in a jiffy and set up and in place in a half a day's time.
That's perfect. Thank you. Okay, that's all for me. Any further discussion with the board? No? How about from the public? Any questions, comments? Nope. Bring it back to the board for action.
I move we accept the consent calendar.
I second it.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Right. Melissa?
Okay, regular business. Item number 3, consider establishing a project budget and approving a contract change order with Superior Tank Company, Inc. for the construction of the Peaceful Pines Tank Replacement Project.
Alrighty, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
So, those I haven't met yet, Nate Gookin, I'm a assistant engineer here at TUD, a little under the weather, so if I'm not being clear, just let me know and I'll try to enunciate better. So, try to do the short story, then go back into the long story. The short story is the Peaceful Pines tank we knew we were going to have to replace it, and upon recent inspection, we have to replace it a lot sooner than we were anticipating. We were anticipating fiscal year 29. Recent inspection, we got rafters hanging down the tank. This tank resides between Sierra Village and Long Barn, so a lot of snow load up there. So we're really concerned about the amount of snow this tank roof will see. It's not safe for access for TUD personnel, so we get 2 feet of snow on that thing, that tank might go. And so that's why we ordered the poly tank to act as a temporary tank. TUD crews have started constructing a temporary foundation for the poly tank, and that will take the place so that way we can get this tank replaced before anything bad happens. So into then the recommendation, one, establish capital budget of $250,000, transfer that $250,000 from Zone 2 capital project and execute a contract change order with Superior Tank. In the summary, the existing tank is 43,000 gallons. Again, it's high risk of imminent failure. We have a poly tank to take its place, so that way we can keep water running. Superior Tank is currently on 3 active tank construction projects for us. The Zone 2, Upper Cedar Ridge, and Valley Vista, all in different stages of construction. And due to the urgency with them being up here already construction tanks, it would save us some costs and save us time and just doing a contract change order to have them furnish and erect the new Peaceful Pines tank. It's about the gist of it. Any questions so far?
So is that moving to the head of the list?
No, because it takes a couple weeks to manufacture all the parts to build a new tank. They'll just continue chugging along on our current projects, and this one should come up as soon as those are done, so they can just jump right into this one.
Okay, and you said how big is the existing tank?
The existing one is 43,000 gallons, and we're going to up it a little bit. The new tank will be a 53,000 gallon tank. It's in a bit of a difficult situation. It's on the old highway right away, so we don't have much room to expand.
Right. So, and then the poly tank, even though it's really small compared to that, that'll be good enough to get us by?
Yeah, there's low water demand in the winter up there, so the poly tank is perfectly sized for our demands to be able to get us through the winter.
Okay, so I guess that gets me back to where my first question is. So that tank up there is really sort of at, to be done as soon as possible.
Yep, as soon as possible, and that as soon as possible will not take place just due to the amount of time it'll take to do everything. It's not going to jump in line of everything. It's going to be the next thing just due to the amount of time it takes to manufacture everything and get it all up here. It'll be happening right after our current projects are done.
Okay, thank you. Let's go ahead.
Question, Nate, just out of curiosity, is it just the Peaceful Pines subdivision that tank serves, or is there some other homes there around?
Just the Peaceful Pines, I believe maybe, Matt, would you know, is it just Peaceful Pines? Just Peaceful Pines, wanted to up it a little bit, that way in case we ever tie into Oddfellows, we already have a little bit of capacity there to use.
Okay. Yeah, that's right there on the old highway there, the old Sylvan Lodge property there, so. Okay, all right, that's it, thank you, good job.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, just a question. If we hadn't had weren't fortunate enough to have Superior Tank company and, doing what they're doing, how would we have handled this potential catastrophe? Would we have to go through the bid process?
Yeah, we would probably have to go through a bid process, and then that would just then add more weeks and possibly months of time to take to get this tank built and put in place.
Okay, so fortunately we have some excess funds from one project we can migrate to this project.
Correct.
Okay, great. Smart thinking there. Thanks.
Any further questions or whatever? No? And anything from the public? Nope. Okay, bring it back to the board for action.
I move that we establish a capital project budget of $250,000, moving $250,000 from the existing Zone 2 tank capital project account, execute a contract change in the order and amount of $164,986 with Superior Tank Company Incorporated for the emergency replacement of the Peaceful Pines tank.
Good job.
I'll second.
All right. If there's no further anything from the public, if not, then I'll bring it back to the board. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Right on. Thank you, guys.
Good
Thanks,
job.
Nate.
Melissa?
Okay, Ron, we've had a request just to flip 4 and 5, to do item number 5 first and then item number 4.
Okay.
Okay?
Sounds
Okay.
good to me.
So we're going to go with item number 5 first, and it'd be adopt resolution recognizing district personnel eligible for the 2025 Employee Longevity Recognition Award.
Okay, thank you, Melissa, and thank you, President Ringen and board, for allowing us to do that. We have some very important people in the room that we're going to recognize this morning, and so since they also are very busy people, I figured maybe we could move this up and allow them to get back to work after we acknowledge them here. Well, as I do every year, I have the pleasure of honoring and recognizing and presenting to you our longevity awards for 2025. And this year we had quite a long list. Some years we have a little bit shorter list, some years we have longer, but we have 9 folks in here this morning that we'd like to recognize. Not all of them are here present, but several of them, 5 of them are here. And so we'd like to do that with them. So as you know, we have a resolution back from 1997 that awards folks at 3 tiers, 25 years, 20 years, and 10 years for their longevity and service to the district. And so unless there's questions before, I'd like to read through the resolution, and then I'd like to speak about each one of those folks on the list. Okay. So this resolution is the Tuolumne Utilities District recognizing district personnel eligible for the Longevity Recognition Award for 2025. Whereas the Tuolumne Utilities District adopted by resolution number 8197, the Employee Longevity Recognition Award Policy. And whereas the district sincerely appreciates the dedication and commitment of long-term employees, and whereas the district recognizes the invaluable institutional knowledge retained by long-term employees. And whereas long-term employees add stability to the workforce, building confidence and morale, and whereas long-term employees contribute to increased operational efficiency as their experience enables them to solve problems quickly and mentor new staff effectively. And whereas the presence of long-term employees supports continuity in service delivery and helps preserve the district's culture and values. And whereas the relationships developed by long-term employees with customers, vendors, and community partners foster trust, enhance communication, and strengthen the district's reputation. And whereas the retention of long-term employees reduces recruitment and training costs, providing significant value to the district over time. And so, this resolution says, be it resolved, the Board of Directors of Tuolumne Utilities District as follows, and then hereby recognizes the following district employees for their continued years of service. So I'd like to go through each one of those, starting with our general manager, Don Perkins. So congratulations, Don, on 25 years of service this year. It's almost 26, actually. Next month will be 26, but it's for, yes. So Don was hired in January of 2000, right before we moved into this building, right? And so Don was hired as a grade 2 water operator. He was promoted to a grade 3 water operator in May of 2003, and then was promoted to water superintendent in February of 2010, and to operations manager, now operations director, in 2015. And after a short stint as your interim general manager, he was hired by the TUD Board of Directors as general manager in October 2021. So it's been about 4 years. And so I just personally appreciate Don's leadership, his friendship. We kind of came into our management positions at about the same time with Eric Johnson as well. And we grew a lot. And we had a lot of challenging situations, a lot of challenging situations where we often sit and say, we are learning a lot today. So anyway, that's just personally from me. I just wanted to thank Don for all of that. He's been a great partner here at TUD. He's been a great leader, and I consider him a friend. So thank you, Don, for your service. Okay, next, under the 25-year award, we have Matthew Nolte. So he's in the stands here. He's probably everyone knows you, but maybe know him more as Matt Nolte. He's our distribution superintendent, and he was hired on December 1st, 2000. So he just hit his 25-year mark. And Matt was hired as a utility worker 1, I believe in wastewater, correct? Yeah, and just for about 6 months he was there, and then he was promoted to, moved over into distribution and promoted to utility worker 2 in May of 2001, and then again to utility worker 3 in November of 2003, and then was promoted to systems utility technician in July of 2008, and then promoted to distribution foreman in November of 2010, and then finally to distribution superintendent in December of 2018. So where he is working to this date. So just appreciate all you do for the district, Matt. Wow, 25 years. We used to be the young ones, right? So Matt's done a tremendous job in the department. And
I just wanted to add, you left out one thing.
what did I leave out?
He's the fireman. He's the one that gets to put out all the fires.
Oh, yes, lots of fires. That's right, from the hydrants that he maintains. So just appreciate Matt's work. A big project that he's working on, obviously, is the meter change out to the remote meters. So we're almost done there. So that's been a huge accomplishment for him and his department. And at any time, if anyone wants to chime in or say anything else, I'm happy to step aside for that.
I'm going to wait for my opportunity when you get to the end. I'll talk
Perfect.
about all of them. That's
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Okay, for our 20-year awards, we have first up Justin Terzich. So sitting next to Matt, Justin Terzich was hired on February 15th of 2005 as a utility worker 1. And he was promoted thereafter through the ranks of utility worker 1, 2, 3, and then also held the title of systems utility technician. And then he was promoted to distribution foreman in January of 2019. And then that's where he serves today as distribution foreman, working with Matt and the distribution crew, oversees the PRVs and the valve exercising program, and oversees day-to-day operations in that department and division. They have a few temps on right now. So he's also obviously actively involved in the meter project. So thank you so much for your service, Justin. Okay, next up, a familiar face to my right, Eric Johnson. And he's gonna love this, I know. So Eric Johnson is our district engineer. He was originally hired in May of 2005, started as an associate engineer 1, and then was promoted to associate engineer 2 in May of 2010, then to senior engineer in January of 2014, and finally was promoted to district engineer in 2015, where he serves to this date. And again, as I mentioned with Don, he was a new manager. I was a new manager, Don was a new manager, and so we have had a lot of growing pains, but really we've, in the last 10 years, we've accomplished a lot, and just appreciate Eric's partnership as well, and it's been really fun working with you, so appreciate it. Okay, and you're waiting till the end, Don. Okay, the next one is not here, so I guess we can just say whatever we want. No, the next one is Albert Matlock, and he also works in Matt's department in distribution. He's a utility worker 3, and he was hired originally as a utility worker 1 in July of 2005. Originally in the construction maintenance department, though. So he started there, and then he was promoted to utility worker 2 in 2006, to utility worker 3 late in 2008. And then he transferred to the distribution division in 2012, where he's working to this date as a utility worker 3. So just really appreciate Albert. And fun fact about Albert, he's an expert golfer. So if you like golfing.
Like for real.
What'd you say?
For real.
Yeah, for real. He's a very good golfer. So, and he's a very nice man. So, and very funny. He'll give you a joke. Okay, so next for 20 years, and who is here today in the back, raise your hand, Rich, is Rich Pitcher. And we're gonna see him later too for the Coaches Corner down at Regional. But Rich is our collections superintendent, and he was hired in May of 2005 and also started as a utility worker 1, was quickly promoted to a utility worker 2, and then 3, and then collection system operator 3 in late 2008. Then he was promoted to collections foreman in 2011, and finally promoted to collections superintendent in December of 2018. So he's always been in collections and wastewater department and has a ton of institutional knowledge there. Rich is always a helpful, cooperative. It's, whatever you need, he's there to help, and he's always been a pleasure to work with. So appreciate all your dedicated service, Rich. Okay, 10-year award. We have 3 of those, and none of them are here this morning. So we'll go through them. Clyde Sorick is in our construction maintenance department. He's a utility worker 3 and was hired in May of 2015. He was hired onto the temp crew originally in October of 14, but then full-time as a meter reader in May of 2015. And then he was promoted to utility worker 2 and was working in the raw water division. And in April of 2019, transferred to the construction maintenance division. And where in 2021, he was promoted to utility worker 3. And he is in that position to this date. And I know he was really busy with the project today and couldn't make it. Next, we have Frank Castaneda, who is our electrician instrumentation technician in the operations department, and he was hired on May 11th, 2015. Frank was hired as our electrician and instrumentation tech and is still our electrician instrumentation tech for 10 years. Frank, one of his strong suit is he's very meticulous. He's involved in a lot of our projects in the background, working on the electrical side and instrumentation. And from everything I hear from everyone who I've talked to about it, he's very meticulous, very organized in the way that he does his panels, very well labeled, color coded, everything's really nicely done. And so I just wanted to mention that about Frank. And then finally, Danica Bland is our safety compliance coordinator. You've met her in the admin department. She was hired December 7th of 2015. She started in accounting. So she was hired as accounting services technician. I don't think she snuck in, right? No, she didn't. And then was promoted to accounting technician 2 in June of 2020 and promoted to accounting technician 3 in December of 2022. And in September of 2024, made a lateral move to safety compliance coordinator over with me. I'm sorry, Carolyn. But she is very helpful to everyone here at the district and takes her job very seriously. And as you can see, we've had great results in the workers' comp side. But I also want to say that thank you for thanking me, Jeff, but workers' comp, our experience modification is not my accomplishment. It's all of our accomplishment. The board sets the strategic plan and a core value of a safe workplace, and then each of us take that very seriously and implement that across and all over the org chart. So just wanted to you all to know that this is not my accomplishment. Each and every manager and supervisor and employee take it very seriously. And Danica has extremely good organizational skills and the follow through it takes to make sure people are doing what they need to do in their training and everything. And so she's doing a great job. So I'm happy to have her in my department. So would you like to add, Don? Okay.
Thank you. So that was great, Abby. Thank you. And I'm speaking about all of them. You know, if you didn't do the math, I did. That's 160 years of practical work experience here at TUD. Not something they brought in, but we all got those years of experience, which benefits this district tremendously. I cannot tell you how beneficial that is. You can probably imagine. When a director asks a question, what would happen if this thing happened? You're looking at the crews who won't sweat. They will simply get it done. A few years ago on a horrible January, we had a very similar incident happened and Matt and his team went to work and got things fixed. So rest assured, there's a lot of knowledge here, a lot of experience, and to get us through those tough times. Boy, I don't like this, but we have experienced some tough times. It hasn't always been great. Some really rough days, but that's what makes us a family. We get through those and cherish the great days. Matt and I basically cut our teeth here. He seems so much younger than me. Would you start when you were 12? But literally started at the same. We started at the same time, basically, and we cut our teeth here. And it wasn't long before, you know, as a water treatment plant operator who had many responsibilities out in the distribution system, I could rely on Matt and his instincts and his knowledge and to help me through some of those tough days. He has transferred much of that knowledge on the guy sitting next to him, Justin, who I also trust with everything I have. If I have a situation and Matt's not available, I can go right to Justin and he'll be able to help out. Rich picture in the background, you can see he's in the back, he's quiet, he doesn't like the limelight. But the work you do is impeccably important, right? And you do a fantastic job. You have a great department. I love the way you lead. I love the enthusiasm in your department. You're doing a great job, and I'm just so thankful for it. Yeah, Eric and I, we have spent all of our time as managers together, and we too have been through some very difficult challenges, but him and his team are another piece of the puzzle. When there are challenging times here, infrastructure-wise, rest assured that we will work together and find a solution so that our ratepayers and our customers are not without service for very, very long. I appreciate everything that everybody does here. It's been a fast 25 years. I'm quite sad. This is December already. This last year went by extremely fast, and on one hand, I'm grateful for all the wonderful things we did and all the lessons we've learned again. But I'm also very keenly aware of how many more Decembers I have, right? And we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do. So anyway, I'm just proud of everybody. Thankful for having the time with you guys. Thank you.
And
I'll turn it over to the board for, to have any questions or speak, or then obviously the public.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to congratulate everybody. I know a lot of these people, personal level. Geez, and I can't believe it, but CJ Sorek, my goodness. My wife used to babysit him, and he was just a little guy. And so many of the others I've got to know here at TUD, but others like Eric, we were in Rotary for a long time together before I ever got on this board. And Justin and our families are pretty close, and I'm just glad to see the quality of people here at TUD and that you also stick around. And like Don said, I know that this district is in good hands, has been in good hands, and will continue to be in good hands. So thank you guys very much.
Anyone else? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm fairly new here, but I've been in management and owning companies for 50 years. And it's not easy to put in longevity in a job. There's bad days and good days. But due to the way things are done here at TUD, people are able to stay for a very long time. And there is nothing that matches longevity for success company. You're great.
Anyone else? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to let each of you know how much we appreciate all that you guys do. I mean, it is, the demands are relentless, and you guys have continually stepped up to meet the challenges, and our ratepayers are very, very blessed to have you as part of the company. I too have had some background with both startup companies and publicly traded companies and public agencies, UC system, and et cetera. But I have the camaraderie and the respect, the stick-to-itiveness, enthusiasm. It's just, it really amazes me. I mean, it really is something to behold. I think what we have here is something that we are the envy of many, many districts. So thank you, each one of you.
Okay, anyone else? If not, then I'll just echo what has already been said, so I won't bore you with that. I will say this, that in 2012, when I first came on the board, I walked into the office of the district manager or district engineer at that time, Tom Sasha. And I said, Tom, I want to see all the infrastructure. I want to find out what's going on here. And anyway, I'm not going to belabor that subject, but everywhere I went, I took pictures. So I just want to warn you guys, better be good, because I still have them there in a scrapbook.
Oh, boy.
All right. Thank you, Abby. And I don't think we need any action on that, or do we?
Need a motion.
Resolution?
Adopt the resolution, please. Yeah. Oh, thank you. We'd also love to get a photo before everyone leaves.
Okay, well, and I guess then that's what we're looking for is some resolution.
I'll make that motion to recommend the board by motion to adopt a resolution recognizing district personnel eligible for the Employee Longevity Recognition Award for 2025.
I'll second it.
Okay, if we have no more discussion, nothing from the audience, we'll bring it back to the board. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. It's picture time. Sure.
Sure.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. I was good with that camera.
Okay.
Okay, Melissa,
Okay, item number 4, approve amended personnel policy.
Okay, one more from me. Okay. Well, thank you for making that meaningful for the staff there. Okay, so this morning, this is another item I'm super excited about because it's been about a year of in the working. And so the district has bless you, I don't know if you sneezed, but has a personnel policy. And a personnel policy, you may have also heard other agencies or a company you've worked for call it an employee handbook, something like that. So it's very similar. Basically, what an agency personnel policy or a handbook is really just kind of a playbook for the rules of employment, establishing clear and consistent expectations and guidelines that govern the employment practices, ensuring fair treatment of employees. So it incorporates the different employment laws that are involved in employing people, support compliance with all the applicable laws, and then really just capture our organizational values. So our TUD's original personnel policy was adopted when TUD formed in 1992. 5 times it's been amended, which for 33 years is not too many times. And last was amended in 2004. So that's one of the reasons I'm so excited to be able to bring this to you, because it's been long overdue. Obviously, lots of laws have changed. Workplace practices have changed in the last 20 plus years. And then technology has changed a lot in the last 20 years. So we went through a very thorough and extensive review with legal counsel from Liebert Cassidy Whitmore. And so that was the first really the way we updated it is I went through very thorough review with other managers and just really trying to identify any areas that maybe were different than our normal practice, or we knew there were law changes, and we went through that really carefully. And then wanted to do that before we send it to the attorneys because that can be expensive. But then we got very good legal review on that and went through that extensively. So really the key goals of the revision was to go over, obviously, compliance with the laws, address the practical issues. How does this work for TUD? Does this really match how we're operating? Fill any policy gaps that, you know, maybe over the years were necessary to add in. Align with the current memorandum of understanding with our union. We needed to make sure that those were matching, and we call it harmonize the two documents. Improve the organization and flow, just because the organization of the policy, it needs to be easily understandable by managers and employees. Incorporate newly developed policies that through the years your board has adopted. And then there were some changes, reorganization that we needed to do with the drug and alcohol policies. California law on the drug side has changed quite a bit over the last several years, and is not in alignment with the federal laws on drugs. So we have commercial drivers, so we have to abide by the Department of Transportation guidelines for drug and alcohol for our commercial drivers, which we have just about, I think we have 38 now that have commercial driver license. So we pulled the DOT policy out of that policy and then updated the non-DOT compliance to align with California law on that subject. The policy amendments do not intend to change any wages, hours, or working conditions for the employees, and unless there was specifically required by law. So specifically, there were a lot of changes in the leave laws. So different laws for pregnancy leave, Family and Medical Leave Act, California Family Rights Act. So we wanted to make sure we were compliant with all of those. And then finally, we did go through with our union business manager, Joshua Lepper. I shared the policy with him. He went through it with a fine-tooth comb. In fact, every single change, he initialed, wrote a question, tagged. So I've got in my office, it's, lots of tags. And so him and I went through it really carefully to make sure that he understood. Obviously, I talked with the managers. We talked with people involved with payroll, how this all works, to really have a comprehensive amendment to the policy. Got some guidance from President Ringen and obviously Don. Don went through it very carefully as well, and he loved it. I think he said, "This is not fun." As you saw, it is a lengthy document, but we did add a little bit here and there for those laws, but removing the DOT policy actually makes it about 5 pages shorter than it was. So that was kind of exciting as well. Let's see. The policy was in a clean draft version, but I did offer up a track changes policy. If you'd like to review that, I'm happy to do that as well. But otherwise, that's just a quick summary of what we did with the policy, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Anybody have any questions? Or comment?
Yeah, that's a good job, what you did with that. A lot of the things that I see in that policy, they're clean. California, that's hard to do. They amounted to a lot of work, and they seem to contribute to what we just saw, the longevity. You don't offer jobs, you offer careers.
Mhm.
Good job.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so sounds like we got caught up on California labor law issues. We got the union to sign off on it. Got your supervisors to sign off on it. Sounds like a triple win. Good job.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, just thank you for all the hard work and hours that went into this. Long overdue apparently, but thank you for making it happen. Just a question, not directly related, but just curiosity's sake. When does our current MOU expire? Just curious.
June 30th, 2026.
Any further questions or comments? Nope. How about from the public? Nope. Okay, I'll bring it back to the board for some sort of adoption.
I move that we adopt the resolution, or adopt or approve the amended personnel policy.
I'll second it.
Okay, there's no further conversation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Good job, Abby. Thank you.
Melissa,
Okay, item number 6, election of officers of the Board of Directors, A, President, B, Vice President.
Hey, real quick, I'll just, for the audience, the California Water Code requires that the Board of Directors meet and elect one of their members as president of the board within 30 days after taking the office. The code further allows, but does not require a vice president. They also be elected as a member of the board. At the October 26, 2021 regular board meeting, the board voted to re-adopt the election of officers procedure from the 2013 Board of Officers policy, which states the officers of the board shall consist of a president and vice president. The president and vice president shall be elected to one-year terms by members of the board at the first regular board meeting in December of each year. President and vice president shall take office January 1st. Period. Vacancies shall be filled in the same manner at a regular meeting following the time vacancy occurs. No officer shall serve more than 2 consecutive years in the same position within their term unless elected by a 4/5 vote of the board.
okay, well, not sure whether we start with, I guess we'll start with the president. Huh? Always got to look over at Melissa. She's the boss. So I'll leave it, I'll open it up to the board to make a recommendation.
I move we elect Vice President Kearns as our new president.
And I move that we continue with President Ringen as our new president.
We gotta go with his motion first. If he has a second. If there's anybody who wants to second Director Jacobs' motion.
I'll second Director Jacobs' motion.
Now, how does that work? Do we vote on that first, Melissa? Okay.
Excuse me. I want to second Director Hollis's motion. I apologize.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm in favor of Director Ringen being president.
Okay, we're doing his motion first. Director Jacobs has a motion on the table
Oh, okay.
to have
Yeah,
you
sorry.
as president.
You're right.
So is
We
there
have
a
to-
second for Director Jacobs' motion to have Director Kearns as president? Is there a second?
I understand. Okay.
Okay, not hearing one. Back to the board.
Okay, so that motion fails.
Then-
Okay, now Hollis's for Director Ringen, correct?
President Ringen continue for a second year.
Okay.
And I'll second it.
Okay, any further conversation? Anyone from the public? If not, I'll bring it back to the board for action. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay,
Okay. Now,
now we go to Vice President. Looking forward for a,
I'd like to propose that Director Kearns be vice president for a second year.
I'll second that.
okay, any further conversation or whatever? bring it to the public. Nothing there. Back to the board for action. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you very much. And I guess we get to go to our next one.
All right, item number 7, Coach's Corner, Meet the Team, Part 5.
Okay. And I'll read just a little bit, then we'll take a recess. So real quick, the operations department consists of water, raw water treatment and distribution, wastewater collection and treatment, construction maintenance, and fleet divisions that address the district's field operations. The district's wastewater treatment division operates, repairs, and maintains Tuolumne County's largest wastewater treatment facility, treating approximately 1.3 million gallons of wastewater each day at the Sonora Regional Wastewater Treatment Facilities. That was originally constructed in the 70s. In 2024, the district completed construction on the replacement of that facility with a new state-of-the-art wastewater treatment facility that can produce wastewater effluent that meets California Title 22 Disinfection Tertiary MPN 2.2 standards. So that's a little bit about them. If it's okay, we'll take a recess and then find our way down to regional. But we can't get there too soon because folks had to get situated down there. So if it's okay, I'd like to take a recess and then maybe meet at regional around 11. Is that okay?
So what you're saying is that any of the board members that like to drive down can just leave after that?
Yes, or ride with me and or Abby or Eric. Eric will come down, not this Eric, the other Eric. So yeah. Is that okay?
Oh, Eric is here?
He's here. He's on a carb call.
Okay,
let you know.
I guess then you're done? Okay, I guess then we will adjourn, I guess, is recess, okay, recess.
Don't adjourn.